Welcome back, it's me, Lou. I'm here for another action figure unboxing and review, and today we are revisiting the world of Halo as we take a look at Series 6 Master Chief. This is Master Chief as he appeared in the video game Halo 5 Guardians, and he comes equipped with his trusty assault rifle right over there. Awesome action figure. I'm really excited to check this out. It's really nice that we're getting a different version of Master Chief. Previously, I think the only other versions we got was, I think there was I want to say, if memory serves me right, in the GameStop exclusive Warthog set, the anniversary set that came with the Arbiter. I believe that came with Master Chief as he appeared in, I think maybe Halo 2 or Halo 3. But it's kind of cool to get Halo 5 Master Chief. I remember this armor being drastically different from what we've gotten in the past, especially with the armor in the chest area. So I'm really excited to check this figure out up close. As you can see with the world of Halo, it has a new package design. They kind of done away with the green, the yellow, and the gray box. And if you remember that, there's the card, the bubble, and then there was all this cardboard covering the bubble, and it took forever to open. This kind of goes back to the much tried and true vintage style card backing, where you just have the simple card back and then the blister on top. One thing you'll notice that's missing from these figures is that they done away with the display stands. For me, that's kind of unfortunate. I like the display stands, especially since they redesigned them. The initial wave of display stands were kind of flawed, but they later corrected that in later waves. And in some of the play sets, like the Checkpoint, you'd get a whole bunch of display stands, and they were interlocking. It was fun. You could build dioramas with it. But now they're kind of absent from the figures, and to make things worse, I think I paid a little bit more for this than previously. Previously, I believe the World of Halo figures were sub $10, like maybe $9.99. I'm tempted to say I think I might have paid $11.94 for this at my Target, so I think there's a slight $1 increase. I think. I might be wrong on that, though. But that's to be expected, especially in the current state of the world, coming out of the pandemic and with the war and with inflation. We're seeing price increases across the board with all the other toy lines as well. For example, Marvel Legends, those used to be $19, and nowadays you're paying anywhere between $22 to $24. So it's to be expected, but, hopefully the quality of the figures doesn't suffer because of it. And from what I'm seeing, it looks like this is more of the same. Looks like the quality's still up there. So we have Master Chief from Halo 5, Guardians, if you remember that game, came out years ago. He comes with his assault rifle. The portrait in the corners is actually Master Chief from the most current game, and I believe the other action figures have the same issue where the portrait is Master Chief. It doesn't necessarily reflect the character that's packaged in the box. On the back of the box, the World of Halo Series 6, and here's a checklist of all the figures that are currently out in this wave. We have Master Chief from Halo 5 Guardians. He comes with his assault rifle. We have Atrox with his Chainbreaker. We have Spartan Anubis with Cinder Shot. And I just finished reviewing that figure, which I have right here. If you haven't watched it, check out that review. We have Spartan Buck over here. The UNSC Marine. That's a figure I kind of want to get my hands on. I want to see if it's actually a new Marine design or if this is a simple repaint. And we also have the Skirmisher. That's something I really want also. I love being able to build up my Covenant and Banished forces, so it's always nice that we get more alien characters. And for me, that's one of the big, bright, shining spots of the World of Halo line, is that we're getting the aliens. Now, the much larger scaled Spartan collection with the 6-inch figures, it's a superior figure with much more detail and accessories, and you have a figure line that's kind of, roughly to the same scale as your Marvel Legends and your G.I. Joe Classified series. But for me, they're missing the aliens, they're missing the human characters, they're missing the vehicles and the play sets. And I think that's why, those reasons really endear me to this specific line. I love the 4-inch figures, I love the smaller scale. If you grew up during the 80s and 90s, this could really pull at your nostalgia strings, just because it feels like you're handling like a piece of your childhood, especially like in terms of the vehicles. Like it feels like you're playing like with your old GI Joes, and that's something I love about this toy line. One thing I noticed, I said this when I reviewed Spartan Anubis. It's been a while since I've reviewed the world of Halo figures. It's been some months, just because it's been a while since the last wave came out. And I don't remember if the weapons previously had paint application on them or if they were just simple, like, bare plastic. But either way, I'm really digging this. The assault rifle here has a touch of green and gray on it. It brings out the detail just a little bit, which is nice for a smaller budget scaled figure. And let's get to the main event. We have Master Chief from Halo 5 Guardians. And one of the things I'm most excited about, now that they're giving us Master Chief from Halo 5, I'm also hoping that in the near future they give us Spartan Locke from the same video game. I'm in desperate need of Master Chief's competitor and antagonist from that game. He's one of the more memorable characters, much like Sergeant Johnson and like Cortana. But here we have Master Chief. Really nice sculpt. I said this at the start of the video. I like the Halo 5 Guardian armor just because it seems like it's a slight departure from his Spartan armor from previous games, especially with the armor design around the chest. The sculpting, it's a mixed bag. I've said this before with some of the Halo 4-inch scale figures. Sometimes the sculpting can be really sharp. Other times it could be kind of soft. You're getting a mixed bag here. Some parts look really crisp. Others look, like it could be, the definition could be sharper. There's a quite amount of paint application on his armor. You're seeing some silver and gray highlights and details. Let's get him into focus. There you go. Really well done. The visor has that gold that Master Chief's known for. And you can see some silver trim at the base of the visor. Nice figure, especially for a 4-inch scale figure. Now, in terms of the articulation with this guy, let's get him to focus. His head rotates. Does he look down? He looks down, which is nice. Looks up about that much. His arms rotate, and then they go out. Even though there's a shoulder piece here, it doesn't hinder the movement. Elbow bend, elbow swivel. He has articulated wrists, much like the previous figures. He has a cut mid-torso, so he can swivel mid-torso, but then he also has a cut at the waist, so he has swivel at the waist. His legs kick up at about a little higher than 90 degrees. He could kick out, so he could super kick. Thigh cut right there, thigh swivel, which is nice. What breaks up the illusion, though, is that there's a gunmetal paint application on the thigh there, whereas above the thigh towards the hip is this bare plastic. It'd be nice if they painted that gunmetal also for a much cleaner uniform look. Double jointed exposed pinned knees, and ankle articulation. And if you noticed on the back, much like other figures in the wave or in the series as a whole, there's a socket in his backpack, and then there's a peg on the assault rifle, and you can store the weapon onto the body of the figure. And that's pretty cool. Now, in terms of comparing them to other figures, here's Spartan Anubis from the same wave. Spartan Anubis is slightly shorter, not as tall in stature as Spartan Anubis. And then we have Master Chief. I believe this is the Halo Infinite. Now, this figure we've gotten multiple times as solo releases and also in some of the vehicle packs. It looks like it might be slightly taller than the Halo 5 version, I think. Yeah, it looks slightly taller. Yeah, so the Infinite figure is slightly taller than the Halo 5 figure. The paint application on this is a little bit more detailed as well. I'm not seeing any battle scarring or battle damaging or weathering on this figure. It's just kind of just, whatever green plastic it's printed on, and, slight highlights of gray and silver. Whereas some of the previous versions of Master Chief, the plastic's a little bit glossier in the finish, and there's a lot more detailing in terms of like battle scarring, weathering, and chipping along the armor for a much more realistic effect. Chances are they probably did away with that on these newer figures for cost reasons, and also it's a smaller figure. You're not necessarily going to notice it. But otherwise, I think the sculpting is great. And as you can see, this is what I'm talking about, the differences in the armor. Halo 5 Guardians, Master Chief's armor is kind of a far departure from previous armor builds. Like, the Infinite armor is a little bit closer to the tried and true design, I think, of looking more like his appearance in Halo 3, somewhat Halo 2. 5, though, kind of looks like almost like a weird mixed bag. There's parts of it that kind of echo Halo 1 and some of the later versions, but I do like this a lot. This piece here around the neck and chest, for some reason, it almost kind of looks like a life vest, but it's pretty neat. Other Spartans to compare them to, I love all the different Spartan looks, especially when they redesign the helmet a lot. Like this guy over here has a really cool helmet. Alright, so let's kind of wrap this review up. On a scale of 1 to 10, easy, 8.5. It's Master Chief. It's a different version of Master Chief. If you're a fan of Halo 5 Guardians, it's a reason to go out in the streets and dance around because you're finally getting a figure of, that version of the character. Right, so until the next video, once again, my name is Lou. If you are new to my channel, welcome. If you are a returning viewer or subscriber, thank you so much for your continued support. So until the next video, be safe, take care of yourself, buy lots of toys, and most importantly, be happy. And I'll see you at the next one. All right, later.